Welcome back to The Five. Dramatic testimony on Capitol Hill today. 3 witnesses from the State Department testified before the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee on the Benghazi terror attack on 9/11 last year. Mark Thompson, Gregory Hicks, and Eric Nordstrom have been giving their account of what happened on that day and afterward. One of the big questions, why didn't Susan Rice call it a terror attack on the Sunday shows after that day? Listen.
What happened initially was it was a spontaneous reaction to what had just transpired in Cairo as a consequence of the video that people gathered outside the embassy, and then it grew very violent.
So fast forward, Mr. Hicks, to the Sunday talk shows and Ambassador Susan Rice. She blamed this attack on a video. In fact, she did it 5 different times. What was your reaction to that?
I was stunned. My jaw dropped, and I was embarrassed.
Greg, you were watching the testimony earlier today. What do you think?
Well, I have to say that the media is really President Obama's scandal condom. No matter how rough things get, nothing gets through, and they catch a break no matter what. I mean, Hillary should put Charles Ramsey, the guy that found those girls, on her ticket. Because, I mean, Bob, you even said, it's like, it is incredible. It's an amazing story. You have the Democrats in these hearings carrying more water than a fleet of camels. You have the media who just, you know, they're like this. They see something go by. Oh, my God, a trial. We got to follow the trial. Oh, my goodness, there's a kidnapping. This is a news story. But I guess if we had called if we had not called these people terrorists, and we had called them bullies, or perhaps homophobic Republicans, maybe the media would have done something. If we called them bigots, Muslim supremacists.
I thought the testimony was even more powerful than anticipated, especially as when he was talking about the death of Christopher Stevens. Yes, Eric, that was very moving. But when he talks about the phone call that he had with Secretary Clinton, that, to me, was very compelling.
Not only that, you're talking about Gregory Hicks, who ended up being the #1 in charge after Ambassador Stevens was killed. He did make the phone call, or got the phone call at 2 a.m. from Hillary Clinton, and then told her that he needed help, and she said, okay, let me know what you're doing, we'll call you back. Then he made another phone call, finding out that he wasn't going to get, there was going to be no help. There was help available in Tripoli, there was help available from Italy, there was help available possibly from Turkey as well. None was being sent. But quick observation. Representative Cummings, who's the ranking Democrat on the committee, I thought was disgusting what he did. He had the opportunity. Here's what it comes up. Darrell Issa asks, addresses the witnesses, addresses the whistleblowers, talks about their record, talks to them, and then Representative Cummings takes his next 15 minutes and goes after Darrell Issa, goes after Representative Issa. Basically taking the legs out of everything he said in all the testimony that we were about to hear. It was grandstanding at its ugliest.
Let me ask you both questions. I've been in something else all day. Did Hicks say who called and said he couldn't use those?
He was told he was not given that information, and he said that that's going to have to be a question for the lieutenant colonel.
Well, he said AFRICOM. It was a discussion between
but he didn't give a specific person.
Yeah.
The other thing, Bob, let me just ask you quickly because I want to get you in here. Hicks was the #2, then becomes the #1. Representative Gowdy asked him, did you talk at all to Ambassador Rice before she went out? And he says no. On 3, he said no, not a single bit. And that that Susan Rice's actions on that Sunday and the aftermath actually prevented the FBI from being able to get in to the country.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked by that, because normally when you having been in government before and something like this, you have a discussion with the person who's in charge of the situation. So I'm a little surprised she didn't have a conversation.
Well, we've covered this story from the beginning. We've had a lot of breaking news today. I can promise you that tomorrow, I don't care what my segment's going to be about, I'll talk about this, because it's my birthday tomorrow. All right, when we come back, more on the Benghazi testimony and an update on the criminal investigation out of Cleveland. We still have Kimberly, too.
Happy 50th.
Thanks.
We had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
The committee's labors to uncover what happened prior, during, and after the attack matter. Most importantly, excuse me, it matters to the friends and family of Ambassador Stevens, Sean Smith, Glenn Doherty, and Tyrone Woods, who were murdered on September 11th, 2012.
his emotional testimony on the Benghazi affair and murders and terrorist acts. Hillary Clinton opened that with her testimony before a committee. The question now is, she, in my mind, is going to run for president in 2016. What implications does this have for her, Andrea?
Well, I know she said what difference does it make, but it makes a very big difference. You have to imagine Republicans are going to use this against her, but also, Bob, depending on who is running against her in a Democratic primary, they're going to use it as well. In my opinion, a tape like that, and after what we heard today, that it was clear-cut terrorism immediately after the attack, and they weren't ready, despite numerous warnings and 2 previous attacks on that exact same consulate, she should be blown out of the water any chances for her to run. However, the media today, yawning away again, and so Hillary Clinton has more than 9 lives, and so if the media would stay on it, maybe she has a chance, but you know, you never know. Politics, she could come back.
Kimberly?
Yeah, the question is if they're going to be able to do sufficient enough damage control to attenuate the taint of this, because this is really bad. The testimony was compelling. These are witnesses that really made an impact, I think, with their words, with their emotion. These aren't people that were disgruntled, that are trying to make up stories. These are people from the emotion, the tone, the tenor of their voice that care deeply about America and the lives that were lost that they believe could have been saved.
Well, I know both Dana and Eric listened to this testimony in detail. Let me ask you first, Dana, what exactly did they say Hillary Clinton did?
She called Gregory Hicks and asked him what he's going to do, and he said, we're going to get out of here, and that's the extent of his testimony. I will tell you one thing, though. What difference does it make? The difference is that she did call. She contacted Hicks, who was now #1 in charge. 2 other people died after that.
Okay, let me just ask you.
2 people died. That's what difference
Dana, was there any other testimony about Hillary Clinton?
Yes, and about whether or not, especially about the changing of the talking points, that was actually the changing of the intel, that they knew that it was Al-Qaeda and Al-Sharia, and they tried to scrub that from it and made up the story about the video. And then she did the testimony, the speech in front of the caskets, blaming the video. And meanwhile, that guy's still in jail.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
The one thing you have to remember from that footage from Hillary is that she is not a nice person. That's the bottom line. The way she reacted, that is not a nice person.
Well, that's not presidential tone.